traveler to my realm of nightmares. Allow me to be your personal assistant in my realm. Come in, take a seat, get comfortable, for when you step into my realm, there's no stepping out.
I'm a local genealogist, but I also work for the local national forest. I know the trails and all very well. I don't go out there only for work, but tend to stick around, hang out, and bask in the beauty of nature. Now, I don't know what it is about the forest, but it helps calm me and gives me inspiration and hope for the future. In a world of constant negative news, financial issues, and other problems, walking and ruminating in the forest helps me to slow time down. It eases my anxiety and helps me to feel much better. The trails present various distinctions and opportunities for exploration. One can surely get lost in the various fauna and flora that are present in the area. Indeed, several people have gone missing in the area over the past 100 years. A low amount of people go missing over 100 years, to be sure, but still, one missing life is one too many for my liking. Despite that small data point, I've always loved the fact that my local national forest offered a challenge. One could choose to go through the clearing or go through the paths that were very thick with grass and had some fallen trees. Sometimes it's not best to come back here with an ATV due to the damage caused by the weather. Of course, it is not necessarily allowed for individuals to come back here and move through here with an ATV because of the lack of open space. Some still tend to try their luck. Anyway, I'm out here right now, on April 20th, to clear out some of the fallen trees from a recent storm. A portion of the forest was closed off due to the potentially dangerous situations present there, and my bosses had sent me out there to do some cleaning. Of course, we didn't know when we would officially open all parts of the national forest, as we were trying to abide by the orders of the CDC to stem the recent outbreak. I personally didn't know why we had to be extra restrictive outdoors. I mean, it's not like tons of people traversed my local national park anyway. They were preoccupied with their virtual reality headsets, their indoor gaming, and of course, the endless browsing of social media content. It always seemed to me that as the years passed on, and that as individuals progressed technologically, reality and activities related seemed to be a bore. The stimulation provided more stimulation. Indeed, the stimulation of reality through social media and the virtual provided the various creature comforts modern sapiens needed, pulling them further away from their naturalistic surroundings, trapped in the endless feeds. In this world, it was quite a surprise to me that we had to limit the park's capacity. But hey, I guess these matters were way above my pay grade. I'm walking around and looking for fallen trees and other debris. Sometimes we see a few dead animals and usually remove them from the premises as well. I remember being chased by some of the furry creatures of the forest in the past. Yes, while I am a large fan of the national forest and all that it has to offer, not all of nature is friendly. Indeed, I've been chased by quite a bit of creatures in the forest, and that's why I've carried a type of special spray that we park workers would spray all over us and the dead animals. The spray formed sort of an invisibility shield, and we would smell like some freshly picked strawberries, and it would work for a time, but then wear off. The problem was that it would only last for about 30 to 45 minutes. Then I would have to spray it back to get my invisibility shield back. Now, luckily my truck was fully loaded with a 10-gallon jug in the back, and it was good to go. As I'm making my way through the forest, I'm hearing the regular trails and voices of the forest. The wind and its wheezing noises, the bird calls, and the crooks and rumbles of the forest. At times, it seems like I'm hearing a few creatures far off in the distance. But I don't know. It's strange. They seem afar off, But at the same time, the creatures sound like they're quite close. It is quite peculiar. Now, these aspects do not usually perturb someone like me that spends a large portion of their time in these woods, but there are certain hair-raising situations. Yes, the creatures were coming closer, and they seemed closer than I would have liked, but I couldn't see them. I started to fidget with my watch a little bit. I could have sworn that I set my timer on my watch, but something must have been wrong with it. I take my wristwatch off and smack it a couple of times. Then it lit up with a green light, letting me know my battery level was at a full charge. It seems as if I've been clearing debris for several hours now. I quickly get back to my truck, recharge for about 30 minutes by snacking on a Griff's Banana Nut Crunch bar. Then, I stay still for a few minutes and get back up to continue the rest of the work. I turn on the compressor so I'd be able to spray down real quick, and so I go ahead and do a quick spray down of myself and the animals that I had to pick up. Then, I start to back up the truck and move to the next area. I have the windows down and have my hand just hanging out, and I'm cruising along when I get to the front of the parking lot. But something seems wrong here. There are the trash bins thrown about, cars and windows busted, and tires that are slashed. What could have done this? I thought that I had been like one of the only ones that was allowed here. How the heck did some of the darn kids get in here now? Oh, son of a fudge sickle. I've got to get back out there and see where these hooligans have gone. See, a part of my job was to conduct containment and enforcement of the area to ensure that everything was in good standing. This wasn't the most fun part of my job. I've got to go back into the forest now. It's not a good thing for them to be in there, especially since we have been closed for a while now. Our local division could get in quite a bit of trouble because everyone is supposed to be on lockdown, and heads could roll if we don't enforce it out here. I guess it's up to me to go find these troubled youths. I radio into headquarters. It's me, Roosevelt. It looks like I'll be out here for a bit longer. It seems like we've got some youths out here with minds of their own. This is Thornton. I read you loud and clear. Over and out. I gotta get them out, and let's hope I don't have to call in Healy. I do not want to have to do that. That's one of the last things I want to do. I get my truck, but put the dead animal carcasses back into the incinerator, close the door and press the button, and watch it for a minute or two. It's time to head back into the deep, dark forest. The sun is hiding its face now, and darkness is slowly rolling in. I don't necessarily like to be out here very late, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. To top it off, I'm low on fuel, so I drive to a fuel pump station nearby. I go ahead and whip out my key, pull my truck around, and pull the lever. It says that the refueling station is halfway full, so I'm in luck that the other rangers had not fueled up here in quite some time. I double check, and it seems that the last log entry was 9 months ago. That's strange. Why hasn't anyone refueled over here in 9 months? I'll have to ask about that later. I hear the click, and it's time to get back into the forest. I turn on the radio and head back into the forest to go look for the darn youths. I hope it does not take me all night, so I put on my lights because it was almost dusk. Maybe I should honk the horn to see if they will maybe come out. I honk a few times, wait, and listen, but I hear no one. There are no cries for help or other discernible human voices. The only thing I hear are the noises of the forest and animals scurrying. There are a few birds flying around, and one almost smashed down and hit my windshield. Dang nabbit! I don't need this right now. I don't need other issues while I'm out here at night. As I'm going down towards the trails, It begins to get a bit more tricky to get around the bends and in between the trees. The paths are getting narrower, like I expected. I might have to stop and park at where I'm at now. Let's see. I should be about 4 to 6 clicks into the forest now. Yes, a few more miles, then I should arrive at the old devil's Dandruff cuffs. The youngsters usually come around these parts to smoke and whittle their time away. These cliffs have a peak at about 5,550 feet. It's snowy on the top and in the midst at this time of year. There are known to be some avalanches this time of year, but I gave it no mind and got some of my gear out of the back of the truck. Luckily, I had a flare gun, an extra coat, and of course, you gotta have some weather-protected boots. So, I put all of that into my backpack and go do my geography work on the cliffs. I see that they had not fully mapped out this cliff as of yet. These cliffs had been discovered only the prior year. They had all kinds of logging crews out here chopping down the way to the cliff before the Great Pause. It took them about 3 weeks to get through, but when they did, they were met with a limestone cliff with ivy growing all up and around every which way you looked. It was green and slime-caked and thick. It took about a day to get it all off the outer walls. They named it Devil's Dandruff Cave because of the poison ivy that got many of them sick for a while. But as I'm investigating the area, I see that there is a door. It was big, with some strange print, with a strange symbol of a human with something on the top of his head, holding out his hand as a gesture of some sorts. Then I look down and then see them bowing to the symbol as a god of some sorts. I think to myself, what could this all mean? And why on earth did they decide to send me, of all people, to clear out the debris nearby? I mean, I could name at least 3 or more people who would have been more qualified to tackle this project and deal with the other issues that might arise. I guess I'm lucky. Maybe they will put this in the monthly forestry green newsletter, front and center. Man, wouldn't that be something? As I'm still standing in awe at this cliff face, being a red-yellow tint, maybe a shade of blue when the light hits it, I got the courage to walk into the Devil's Dandruff Cave, where I go into the dark abyss. Yet, light is on my side. Click, click, I said. Light is on my side. Click. And let the flashlight illuminate the area. I shine it on the wall, and it sparkles with different colored crystals, none that I'd ever seen before. I see why they wanted to send me down here. As a genealogist, I can state these are fine minerals. There is quite a boatload of them. I can't decide on what to pick first. The red ones? The blue ones? They are just so big. I've not seen crystals this big. Why were they as big as tigers or medium-sized dogs? As I'm chipping away at some of these minerals, I began to feel as if I'm being watched. But I shrug it off. I'm just whistling away, tap tap here and tap tap there, and put the samples inside my bag, gently, so as not to damage them. I started to feel a bit weary from all the activity that I'd been doing. I turned and looked at my bag to grab my bottle of water, and it wasn't there. So I got up and searched the area and saw that it had somehow rolled down into the crevice and was a little too short to get it, so I had to reach a little bit to get the bottle. As I did, I slipped and lost my balance and fell a few feet down into a pool of some sort. The water was warm and calming. But after falling into it, I was thinking, how the heck am I going to get out of this one now? I could feel this like a vacuum sensation as I'm lying in the warm water. The water was being sucked down. Well, maybe if I go down there, it could be another way out. I take one big breath and just go for it. And I go down and get sucked right through and get spit out into this big room with some sort of machine with all these different colored lights and whatnot. I went to go inspect these things, and it was 12 foot tall and 12 foot wide. Wonder what kind of thing would be going on in here. I walk up to it and press the button. It pokes my finger, and then I see my blood on the screen. It says, accepted. The light turns green, and a big door closes. And all the steam starts to emanate. And so I go and run and hide behind this big rock. The screen states 1 hour and counting down. So I just sit and wait and see what is to come out of the chamber as the time is ticking closer and closer. I can only begin to imagine what is about to come out of that chamber now. It says 30 minutes and the machines are getting louder. It's like a shrill and shriek of a witch. It is unbearable. Then it begins to shake back and forth several times, and now it begins to reopen. Lo and behold, what do I see? A copy of myself naked and looking forward, with its eyes ever so open. There was no color to his eyes. It was just white, and so sickly looking. It almost made me want to vomit at the sight of it. The hair was missing. It was like a skinhead version of me. It looked hungry and ready to eat. I was bewildered by the whole scene and took a few steps back. All of a sudden, I slip on a rock and start falling. The sickly looking version of myself screeches and turns to me. It looked like it was salivating. That's when everything goes dark. Tonight's story was written by the talented author and narrator Dark Horse Tales. If you enjoyed his story, check out his channel. His links will be in the description below. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you're new. Also, don't forget to ding that bell for all future content.
As always, travelers, once you step into my realm, there's no stepping out.